Should black people get reparations?
I believe they should.
So I, white man, have to play for black people. Why?
Wow, that's a really selfish thing you
just
said.
Hold on. Why should I have...
That's a really non-empathetic thing to say.
Why should I have empathy for a race? I have white guilt because I breathe?
So I got a legitimate question. Legitimate. Ain't push your emotions out the way. Use your intelligence. The man clearly said that he doesn't have any empathy for our race going through slavery. Don't he only got... Do you know what we went through, my race went through? All of the castration, all of the separating children from families being sold off, the fathers being disconnected and sold off from their families, the women being used as sexual objects, people being beat at will, you being worked from sun up to sundown for no pay for centuries, all of the lynchings unjustified, the little babies being used as alligator bait for centuries. And you mean tell me he ain't got no empathy? Land being stolen from indigenous people by the thousands, being pushed off their land, chased away by lynch mobs. And you mean tell me this man said he ain't got no empathy? So should we have empathy for his ass? I mean, I'm just being logical here, y'all. He didn't have no empathy for my race, period. So should we feel empathy for him? That's all I'm saying. I'm just using common sense. This ain't trying to spread no hate. This is using what you send out, you get it in return. This is a mirror reflecting. And then you think about this, right? He was murdered in front of his children. He was taken from this planet in front of his wife. The same thing happened to Malcolm X. Malcolm was taken in front of his children. Malcolm X was taken in front of his wife. But these Caucasoids didn't show any sympathy for Malcolm. I'm just using logical thinking here, right? But yet and still, us indigenous people still show empathy towards this type of individual.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Now let's be clear. My heart goes out to those that lost this man, their loved one. The children, the wife, the immediate family members, those that cared about the man. My heart go out to y'all because I know how it feel to lose somebody you care about. But let's also remember that this man pushed the Second Amendment and he never went a day without taking the chance to mention gang violence, singling out the indigenous people in the communities of America. Therefore, he was pushing white supremacy and he showed on what he stood for.
Why should the white students here have to work harder to pay for black kids? What is that all about?
Not every black person has lineage connected to slaves.
That's true.
Every white person doesn't have lineage connected to slaves.
Yes, that's right. So since every black person doesn't have a lineage connected to slaves, why should we generalize and say reparations for black people?
They got a guilty conscience. You're not getting any money from me. It was your people. You need to go to Africa and get it. They sold you. First of all, let's get it straight. About 80% of us was already over here. Okay? This is why y'all start changing our names and reclassifying us so that y'all could cut our ties from our true lineage of our tribes in America. Like Washita, Choctaw. This is why y'all did that for. We the only people on the planet that has been totally destroyed. Now, why y'all say stuff like, I'm not giving you none of my money. Ain't nobody trying to get no money from y'all ass. We want it from the U.S. government because it was the government that had legalized slavery. They played the majority role in slavery as far as us over here. Now, when it comes to Africans, we don't give a fuck. We ain't in Africa. I don't care nothing about what they had to do with it. I'm talking about y'all ass, the U.S. government. But for you Caucasoids that got a guilty conscience, that's just because your history is ugly and it ain't nothing to glorify. And 9 times out of 10, somebody in your family probably had something to do with slavery.
There are people that are in a worse place.
So over 150 years, they didn't have any ability to make better decisions, to save money, and to invest. How about you take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming the white man?
See, this thing, everybody done got their reparations. Everybody done got reparations. The Jewish people got reparations. I don't even know what they had to do with the U.S., the United States of America. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they getting money from the U.S. The so-called Native Americans, the Mongolians, the ones that ain't even indigenous to the Americas, that came through the Siberian Peninsula, they getting reparations. The Japanese getting reparations. Even the slave owners got reparations. And you tell me we ain't supposed to get reparations? I will raise my race. We endured servitude, slavery longer than anybody over here in America. It take a sick, psychotic, twisted, ignorant, stupid person to say that we don't deserve reparation. You gotta be a demon in human form when you tell me if you a Caucasian, if you a Chinese, if you a Japanese, and mainly it's the Caucasians that's doing the shit. When you say we don't deserve reparations, right there you telling me you ain't shit. You telling me you ain't shit. When you tell me that, you tell me everything I need to know about you.
Should black people get reparations?
I believe they should.
So I, white man, have to play for black people. Why?
Wow, that's a really selfish thing you just said.
Hold on. Why should I have...
That's a really non-empathetic thing to say.
Why should I have empathy for a race?
You tell me we ain't supposed to get reparations? I will raise my race. We endured servitude, slavery longer than anybody over here in America. It take a sick, psychotic, twisted, ignorant, stupid person to say that we don't deserve reparation. You gotta be a demon in human form when you tell me if you a Caucasian, if you a Chinese, if you a Japanese, and mainly it's the Caucasians that's doing the shit. When you say we don't deserve reparations, right there you telling me you ain't shit. You telling me you ain't shit. When you tell me that, you tell me everything I need to know about you.
When the Europeans came over here and tried to start colonies, the colonies all failed. Without black people involved, all of the colonies they tried to start failed. They had New Sweden up in Delaware, that failed. They had Roanoke, that failed. San Miguel del Guadafe, that failed. Just so many of their colonies. St. Augustine, that failed down in Florida. So they didn't get anything popping and anything stable until we were introduced to these colonies, and we are literally the foundation. So yeah, there's no foundational white American. So the founding fathers are not foundational white Americans? Well, the thing is, those founding fathers, they had slaves. So the slaves was doing all the work for them. You talk about George Washington, slaves. Thomas Jefferson, slaves. So yeah, they all had slaves doing the work for them. Ben Franklin had slaves? I don't think he did. I don't think he was a plantation owner, but you know, he had white supremacist views. So you know. I mean, they all did. I mean, the Declaration of Independence, you know, and the Constitution and so forth. Yeah. It's all like white males. Exactly. So, you know, racist and sexist. Yeah, we've always been the secret sauce, you know, foundational black Americans, you know. Okay, but is that sort of just a footnote? Because at the end of the day, based on your definition, Europeans that came over here and helped build the country, just take slaves out of the conversation. Doesn't that more or less describe what a foundational black American is in the same type of way for their white counterparts? You say you take slaves out of it. If you take slaves out of it, you have no country. You understand? Like I told you, the Europeans, they came over here and they tried to start colonies on their own, and all of them failed. You see, we really have to understand that. When they came over and started Roanoke, that shit failed. It all failed. They did not get anything going on until the Jamestown colony, and they damn near starved and died with Jamestown. They were cannibalizing each other. So when black people were introduced to that colony, that's when they started to thrive. These are all facts. I always tell people when I'm debating, show me a colony before 1619 over here in North America that was thriving. None.